trying to have a good time. But I keep thinking about tomorrow. They told us this morning, put your belongings by your door. Make room for the next person. In the morning, you begin your new life, adult life. The whole world is in front of you. Just go, get settled, achieve, don't give up. But I'm not sure how to do any of those things.
It's kind of hard to believe this still happens. Here are teenage, orphaned, and abandoned children who've been cared for by the Ukrainian government all or most of their lives. And suddenly, they're pushed out into the world to fend for themselves. They live in deplorable conditions, have no basic life skills, and there's no one to guide them in making good decisions. About 90% fall off the grid. Alcoholism, crime, prostitution, suicide. This life passage is often called aging out, and this is the place where Orphan's Promise started. In the early years, we opened training centers and began teaching young people how to handle money, how to find and keep a job, how to seek their self-worth from God. We quickly learned it's not a 12-step program or a 6-week course. It's a daily investment with lots of ups and downs. One of our most active training centers is in Vinica, a modern city with expanding opportunities, about 4 hours from Ukraine's capital city, Kiev. This is where we met Kolya. As a boy, Kolya was sent to an orphanage, although he doesn't know why. At some point, his parents died. He doesn't know how or when. His documents say he has 7 siblings, but he doesn't remember any of them. A sister was adopted and moved to the United States. Recently, he searched and found an older brother, but the brother has chosen not to stay in contact. So instead of living in a family of 10, Kolya grew up feeling very much alone. To this day, Kolya struggles with trying to understand who he really is. At about age 15, an Orphan's Promise team began coming to his orphanage. He met Misha, Yura, and Ina and looked forward to their weekly visits. Soon he became involved in activities at the OP Training Center, and as he looks back on his life, he says this was clearly a turning point. When Kolya aged out of the orphanage, he was sent to a trade school, which is a common practice for orphans. He was to live in a dormitory, but the conditions were deplorable. Poor lighting, no heat. The only water was a small shower room shared by 8 floors. This was definitely not what he imagined life would be. He was invited by Misha to move into House of Hope, an Orphan's Promise transitional home. Here he really started to learn about life. He still attended trade school, which is free for orphans, but instead of being influenced by men in the dormitory, he was being discipled by Misha and his team. Instead of drinking to forget his pain, here he was able to see that he wasn't alone and that God has a plan for his life. He was learning practical life skills too, cooking, managing money, and eventually finding a job. So we expect for Kolya to progress and for his life to have a happy ending. But Misha, the director of the training center, says the reality is these orphans lack self-confidence, and most of them don't believe they can achieve. And even though they might appear to be doing well, it can all change in a moment. Fast forward 2 years, Kolya is working on the city tram, taking tickets. He's doing well for a while until he gets bored and there's no quick advancement to tram driver, which is what he really wants to do. So he starts going to work late or not showing up at all. He has a fight with his boss. Eventually, he loses his job. This is the reality of working with these orphaned and at-risk youth. Has Kolya failed? Has the program failed? Not really. These young people are just playing catch-up. They're learning things most kids get from their parents at an early age. Try your best. Keep going when it gets tough. You can do it. You're smart enough. Instead of learning it at 12, Kolya is learning it at 20.
I believe God will change their way of thinking and give them hope, so they can take their rightful place in life, create families, be confident as children of God, and believe in a good future.
Over the past decade, God has taught us many things about working with these young people. Certainly the most important is that no matter what, He will not give up on them. And He has a unique plan and future for each one. Many are already walking in His plan and blessing, and we have every confidence that God will continue this good work.